first of all, I want to thank you all for inviting me into your home. And I feel it's my profound pleasure to be here with you in spirit. And I was so happy last week when I read that in the New York Times that Brazil is at the forefront of a spiritual awakening. And I thought, of course, that's true. After hearing over so many years, how many people are involved in the Pathwork in Brazil, what else is new in that sense? And so I was so happy how many people are helping to lead people home to the real self in Brazil. What I'd also like to say is the guide in so many ways has given us the tools to find our way home to our real self. And one of the wonderful ways he said it in lecture 18, Free Will, was, and I'll read from the guide, what the guide says. He says, coming home, you take the right middle path of never going over the borderline of two extremes. And in a way, that's really what we base our 50-50 work on, really to be in non-duality, in our parlance we call duality 100-100. In the 50-50, it's non-duality, and we go on once we really come to really accepting our humanness, our being utterly and merely human. We've set that base, that foundation, we can move on to 100, which is unity. So when the guide says the right middle path of never going over the borderline of two extremes is the path home, it sounds pretty good to me. You know, I was fascinated by an article in the New Yorker recently, and it was about scientists who were studying homing pigeons. And they didn't understand, with all the research they didn't understand how a homing pigeon guided his way home. They thought, is it magnetism? Is it sun compassing? Is it smell? Everything sort of proved not to be true. Then they concluded that the way they were guided home was by their love, the love of the nest, the love of the loft. So when I think of that story, I think of our journeys as pathworkers. It's the love of what we know, what we remember, is what's guiding us home through all the obstacles, all the jungles, all the thickets, everything the guide talks about. You know, it's really, nothing stops us because we have that love of the loft, the love of the nest.